A couple of years ago, I, along with 9 other students and 6 chaperones, ventured to the city of Beijing, China. Our journey started as we entered the long hallway leading to our huge white jumbo plane we traveled in for 13 long hours. Throughout the entire ride, I was wondering what it would be like to be halfway across the world. How will I be able to get around? Will the summer classes I took learning Mandarin actually become of use? Either way, at this point, there was no turning back. I would have to deal with any situation ahead of me. As we arrived in the great city of Beijing, my stomach filled with butterflies. The group snaked through the cluster of people with our abundant amount of luggage as we chugged our way up to the hotel. The bright sun warmed my skin in the hot July afternoon as I took in my surroundings. I saw street vendors yelling their lungs out just to grab the attention of tourists, trying to offer the best price on their handmade goods. After a couple of days of exploring the city, we finally got to the peak of the trip, climbing the Great Wall of China. I can remember all of us packing ourselves like sardines into the 2 small white minivans. I can remember the tour guide showing us sights on the way there, but I was faintly listening. All I could think about was what was about to happen next. I mean, what could be the great challenge anyways? It's just a big flat wall you walk across, right? That doesn't sound difficult to me. So what's all the hype about? As I finished up my thoughts, the 2 white vans pulled up to the tourist entrance. A knot formed in my stomach. We're finally here, I told myself. Hopped out the van and my eyes searched the scene. There were people from all over the world here to experience the same thing as I was. I returned to the group to hear the directions from the tour guide. I could hear her saying, "To get back to the van, you must go through the entire course. Do not get off at any rest points." I thought to myself, okay, that sounds easy to me. I started moving closer and closer to the entrance. I finally saw the great challenge of the Great Wall. There was nothing but steps. My mouth dropped. I thought once again to myself, how is this lazy, uncoordinated child like myself supposed to climb a mountain of steps? I mean, who would enjoy this? I looked at the scene again. My eyes scanned the steps as they went higher and higher to the point where I couldn't even see the people anymore. I looked at the people in my group who were smiling from ear to ear. I smiled back, the fakest smile I ever gave in my life. After taking several pictures, we began to climb. I will admit, the first 5 minutes weren't horrible, but as the time went on, the journey got worse and worse. I felt the uneven stone path steps causing me to trip and lose focus. I filled my head with thoughts questioning why I even signed up for this, and can't I just turn around and wait in the van? I kept climbing, struggling. I take a breath, talking to a few other tourists. I could hear my friends ahead of me screaming, "Come on, Morg, catch up." I kept climbing. My heart pounded louder and louder. I kept climbing. My clothes soaked with sweat stuck to my back. Ugh. I kept climbing. At that point, I was so exhausted, I didn't want to take another step. I sat down and took a breather for a second. My legs were throbbing. I tried to hype myself up, saying, "I'm almost there," and reminding myself how far I've gotten from the beginning as I looked down of the mountain of steps. I kept climbing. Finally, I've reached the top. I felt so accomplished. I couldn't believe I actually pushed myself to climb that wall. Catching my breath, I looked around at my surroundings once again. Despite the gray skies from the misty morning, it was so beautiful up there. As I began to walk down the steps, I realized how psyching myself out of something affected me. In a way, I gave up before even stepped foot on the Great Wall. I even was giving up as soon as I started climbing it. I realized I'm going to be put in uncomfortable situations, but sometimes I won't have a choice and will have to deal with the challenge in front of me. Keeping a positive mind is the best way to get through things. I learned to put myself outside of my comfort zone. I stopped saying I can't, and I started saying I would.